Okay, so welcome. This is Financing Weatherization. I'm Laurie Kozar, a financial and energy coach with GreenSavingSmart. We're so happy to have you guys here with us today. This should be a really informative session. We have a little bit of housekeeping to do before we dive in. If you have questions, we're asking folks to put them in the chat, and we will be asking our panelists at the end of the meeting, towards the end of our meeting, your questions. And this webinar is being produced by the team at GreenSavingSmart. It's a financial and energy coaching initiative at the Capstone Community Action Agency in Central Vermont. But it's a statewide initiative. There is a financial and energy coach at each of the community action agencies throughout the state of Vermont. And today we're really we're really pleased to welcome our panelists, Laurie and Wentz, who is the program manager for low-income and multi-family housing at Efficiency Vermont. It's a mouthful. I actually think there's a program manager 3 in there, which I don't know what that means, Lauren, but you could tell us about that later. We also have Laurie Fielder, who is the V-Green program director at Vermont State Employee Credit Union, also known as VSECU. Kelsey Gibb, as I mentioned, is our statewide team lead for the GreenSavingSmart program, and she is assisting with the technology in the background. Thank you, Kelsey, very much. And again, this recording will be available on GreenSavingSmart's website and on our YouTube channel. Okay, so I'm gonna start a screen share with you guys here. Hang on one sec, let me get set up. There we go. Oh. Hang on, let me back out of that. I gotta do it this way. Sorry, I'm really having a little technology problem today, so thanks for bearing with me. Okay, all right, can you guys see my screen? I'm gonna guess that means yes. Nobody's saying no. I see heads going up and down. Awesome, okay. All right, I have to hide you guys for a second. So I can see where I'm going. There we are. Okay. So here's our landing page screen. I'm going to move forward. So as I mentioned, this webinar is being produced by the team at GreenSavingSmart, and it is part of a new pilot program that's funded by the Vermont legislature, and it is managed by the Office of Economic Opportunity. The programming is delivered through the Vermont Community Action Partnership, which is made up of 5 regional community action agencies, and each agency has a financial and energy coach that is available to assist Vermonters with accessing the many rebates, incentives, and financing options that exist for energy efficiency in Vermont. We're also able to provide educational webinars like this one and provide eligible Vermonters with one-on-one coaching. We help folks with building their credit and financial capacities, might be your credit score, building savings, and we do that all while trying to help you save energy. If you're interested in learning more about that program or enrolling, please go to the website or make a note in our chat and we'll contact you. And be happy to tell you more. And this screen that I'm sharing with you right now shows the different community action agencies. If you don't know who those are, you know, in Brattleboro area, we have Brock Community Action, Central Vermont's Capstone, of course, CVOEO is Champlain Valley Office of Economic Opportunity, NECA is Northeast Kingdom Community Action, and SEVCA is Southeastern Vermont Community Action. So please feel free to reach out to your community action agencies. Okay, so moving right along, as I mentioned, we have 2 co-hosts today, Lauren Wentz from Efficiency Vermont and Laurie Fielder from VSECU. In our last webinar on weatherization called Why Weatherize, we covered the what and how of weatherization, what weatherization means and how it works, who does it, and how to do it right. You can view that recording by navigating to our YouTube channel or from the GreenSavingSmart website. Today, we're going to talk about the financial aspects of weatherization projects. And we're really happy to have these 2 very experienced panelists to present to you today. And together, we really hope that we can cover some of the ways that you can finance your weatherization project to make your home more comfortable, healthy, and energy efficient so that you can save money while reducing the amount of carbon emissions from combustion heating systems. So the title of this webinar is Financing Weatherization, and I want to ask our participants if they could put in the chat what they might think the average cost is to weatherize a single family home. If there's any input that you guys have or what you think that might be. Do you think it's $1,000 to weatherize your home, $5,000? Just, you know, put some ideas in the chat if you would. And while folks are answering that, I'd just like to review what we mean by weatherization. So weatherization is a process. It's a science-based assessment of a building and all the parts of the building. So the walls, the attic, the basement, and how these all function to protect against the elements. Weatherization assesses the R value, or the thermal resistance of existing insulation. And it also looks at how much air infiltrates the envelope, and it identifies where that air is entering or exiting the building. Weatherization also addresses health and safety. All right, so now that we have that, let me pop back over here. I'm gonna end our slideshow for a second and see if I can see our chat. Oh boy, I'm really having tech issues today. I'm so sorry, guys. All right,
Laurie, I was going to say we have one, someone put in the chat, $50 to $50,000 for weatherization.
That's a great response. Yeah, $50,000 to $50 is about right. Okay, so I'm so sorry, guys. I'm really having technical issues on my end. I don't know if you can see my shared screen. Are you still seeing the any Bright Ideas screen right now?
Yes, we can. Your desktop.
Okay, so you can see my desktop, but not the full.
Not the full, but there we go. Now we can see the full.
Okay,
version.
but I got to pop you along here, so I'm so sorry. All right, so that's where we left off. Okay, so $5,000 to $50,000. That's $50,000 would be pretty serious. That would have to be a pretty rugged house. It's not impossible for a house to be that needy, but it is possible. So I'm going to move on here. So the average cost of weatherization per job, according to the Weatherization Assistance Program, is about $8,500 at cost in 2020. So that's at cost, it's not retail. And the Association Director of Weatherization at Capstone, Corey, has shared with us that the costs are broken into 3 line items, basically. There's the cost of on-site labor, there's the cost of materials, and those materials might include appliances, as well as health and safety measures, and then there are off-site expenses, such as administration and project prep. In 2021, the WAP services were averaging about $14,000 per home, and that again is at cost. And I don't want you to be too worried about that number. Some of that average cost was due to increases of supply chain impacts due to COVID. And it's also, again, inclusive of appliances or replacement of heating units. So that might look a little bit different than just talking about insulation. And then Efficiency Vermont and VSECU, who see a lot of the applications, or claims from homeowners and the Energy Excellent Network contractors, say that these costs are really averaging about $8,000 per single family house. So I really want you to remember that these are average building costs. Each building will have its own unique needs or issues. Some buildings will need way more weatherization than others, and maybe be in that $50,000 range that somebody put in the chat. And there may also be pre-weatherization work to prepare for weatherization, such as structural issues or water issues, what have you. So costs will really vary depending on the square footage of a building, as well as other issues. but let's not get too far into the weeds there. What we really want to focus on today is on financing your weatherization project. We all want to consider the return on investment. And if you look at this slide, you could see that, how much you could save according to 2015 to 2018 data on thermal and electrical energy use in 1 year is about $1,174 per household, or if you calculate that out over 10 years, that's over $11,000 in savings. And the benefits realized in those energy expense savings are really quite impressive. So if I do my math right, if you're investing, $8,500, and 10 years later that you're saving over $11,000, that's a 38% return on investment over time, and that's a pretty good return on investment. So, and it might even be more considering our current heating fuel prices. So the bottom line is, if you have a 38% return on investment over 10 years, would you do it? I might invest in that. That's not a bad return. Okay, so moving right along. This slide also, refers back to that same data. And this is from the Vermont Department of Health. And this was the weatherization and health co-benefits. And if, we consider some of the hidden benefits of weatherization and health-related costs, even though this data is a little bit older, we're looking at just quite a lot of savings, $24,757. That's a lot of money for any of us, really. So I think if we're looking at today's market, the numbers might look a little different. But what is really valuable to our conversation today is the ratio of cost savings. So I'm just going to move right on. If we monetize some of the other savings here, positive health impacts, saving on doctor visits, and so forth, I think that we could really recognize the return on investment here for weatherization is worth time. Okay, so the financial reality is that folks really spend a large portion of their income on energy to heat their homes in Vermont. And 25.7% of Vermont homes were built before 1939. And only 0.5% were built after 2014, excuse me. The older homes are less insulated. They may have other issues like moisture problems or structural issues that need to be remedied. So working with an EEN contractor or energy excellence network contractor is really not only financially advantageous for the Efficiency Vermont rebates that you can get, but it's also smart to protect your asset. An EEN contractor will look at the whole building. They'll do a scientific analysis of the building and make recommendations to you. Those recommendations may be within that average cost I mentioned earlier. It's really going to depend on each building's needs. And some buildings may be higher needs, but luckily we have some affordability assistance with Efficiency Vermont's weatherization programs. And with that, I'd really, I'm going to stop my screen share here and allow Lauren Wentz from Efficiency Vermont to present to you guys. Lauren, thank you so much for being here with us today. It's a real pleasure to have you.
Oh, my pleasure to be here. Laurie, if you could give me a thumbs up if you can hear me okay, that'd be great. All right, wonderful. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to put together for us today just a few quick slides, and bear with me 1 second. All right. So I wanted to cover 4 main topics for us today, and then after kind of IN is going to flow right into Laurie Fielder, who's also with us today from VSECU. Great news, Laurie and I and Efficiency Vermont and VSECU at large work very closely together and have a really seamless process as it pertains to financing kind of at cost weatherization work that Efficiency Vermont also incentivizes. So hopefully through kind of the information I'll provide, as well as information that Laurie can provide around their process and their other loan products that could help serve you, you'll get a better sense of how to approach possible weatherization projects, as well as their benefits and what kind of program might be the best fit for you. So I wanted to first start off with talking about the different pathways to weatherization projects, then talk specifically about the home performance with Energy Star, or we kind of say in short form, HIPWEEZ program that Efficiency Vermont administers, what the process is in that program for customers such as yourselves, and then start to talk about the home energy loan program. All right, so to start us off, to begin with, I wanted to talk specifically about the Weatherization Assistance Program as provided through the state of Vermont through the Office of Economic Opportunity, and then also Efficiency Vermont's Home Performance with Energy Star program. And these two programs are similar, but they do vary in a number of kind of key ways. And so I wanted to draw attention to this. I think that Efficiency Vermont feels strongly that we would be remiss to not communicate and really provide some kind of primer, if you will, of information about the types of programs that customers who are income eligible in the state can avail themselves of for weatherization at no cost versus those programs that do require customer investment and money up front to enter the weatherization project and work. So I wanted to draw the distinction between these two programs and would certainly welcome questions, if you have any about either of these programs. So we'll start with the Weatherization Assistance Program. I'll kind of in short form call it the WAP program. So these are kind of some high level points. The administrator of that program, or the folks who manage, oversee, fund that program for the entire state of Vermont, is the Office of Economic Opportunity. And there are 5 weatherization agencies that serve homeowners around the state. And then there's a 6th entity, 3E Thermal, that also provides weatherization assistance program in multifamily properties. The process for customers and residents to enroll in that program is an application through the weatherization agency itself. And to reach that, you would go to the Department of Children and Families website and navigate to your agency's website to fill out that application. The timeline to receive services does vary for the Weatherization Assistance Program. At times it can be as quick as a few months, and at times it can be up to a year plus. There's a process in the application where the weatherization agencies collect information that essentially identifies prioritization needs based on a few different factors. Efficiency Vermont is not part of that process, and we don't really have, we're not privy to it either. So I can't speak to exactly what that process is, but it does mean that your wait could be rather quick, or it could be on the longer side, but it does vary, and it does vary also by weatherization agency. Important here is the cost to customer for the Weatherization Assistance Program is that it's no cost for income eligible customers. And the Weatherization Assistance Program defines eligibility based on below 80% AMI, or area median income. There is no financing necessary to participate in this program because there's no cost to customers and folks who participate in it. Important to also know is that Efficiency Vermont partners with the weatherization agencies so that at the time that customers are receiving free or no cost weatherization services through the Weatherization Assistance Program, those folks are also receiving a host of electric efficiency upgrades and measures during that visit. And that portion of that work is funded by Efficiency Vermont and is also at no cost to the customers. So that includes appliance upgrades. If folks have electric resistance heat as their primary heat, the possibility of the installation of cool climate heat pumps or heat pump hot water heaters, direct install of LED light bulbs, water saving devices, faucet aerators, shower heads, etc. So I wanted to kind of give an overview of what the WAP program offers. And if you do believe that you're eligible, that is definitely a pathway we would encourage folks to pursue if that's of interest to you. And certainly those folks would be the ideal audience to answer specific questions about eligibility and what's included and what's not. The average cost of the weatherization job that Laurie mentioned before for WAP work is typically higher than what we see in the Home Performance with Energy Star program. And part of that is because there are requirements from the state of Vermont as well as the federal government, because the Department of Energy does regulate the weatherization assistance program around what needs to be included in the weatherization scope of work when services are provided by the weatherization assistance program. And so what we see at Efficiency Vermont, that the average project cost for someone participating in the Home Performance with Energy Star program does hover around that $8,000, $8,500 range. So there is a difference there, but there are also other market factors at play, inflation certainly being one of them, but there are other reasons too. So to talk specifically for a moment about the Home Performance with Energy Star, I'll get into a little bit more of the process for customers. So Efficiency Vermont administers this program, but it's also a Department of Energy program at large. The process for customers is to work with an EEN contractor to develop and then deliver the project scope. Timeline right now is approximately 6 months. Contractors are really busy throughout the state, though there is variability based on where you live. And so it can vary somewhat. And that 6 month range is right now from essentially when you first make contact with a contractor, get them on site to kind of do a walkthrough and audit, a testing of your home until when the job itself is complete. So it's possible that might be a faster pathway than the weatherization assistance program, but it could be longer. It kind of is variable. The cost to customers for participation in the Home Performance with Energy Star program is a full project cost, less any EVT incentives currently available for eligible projects, and I'll get to what that is currently for sure. And also, of course, financing is available for weatherization projects here with our home energy loan. We work with 3 lenders throughout the state, VSECU being a key one of those. The other 2 are Opportunities Credit Union and then also NeighborWorks of Western Vermont. Income eligibility for weatherization through Efficiency Vermont, there is no income requirements. Anybody can participate in that program. Incentives are higher currently for those folks who are below 120% AMI. So I'll get to kind of more about what that is, but there is a distinction at this point based on income, the level of incentive you would receive. The electric efficiency measures that I spoke about that customers in the weatherization assistance program get at no cost, that doesn't exist in the weatherization program through Efficiency Vermont through the Home Performance with Energy Star program. So I wanted to draw that distinction of the types of things that could be covered at no cost through essentially the state of Vermont through the OEO's program, and then what's included and what the process is for EVT's Home Performance with Energy Star program. So what does kind of the project scope typically look like for a HIPWE's project? That includes air sealing and insulation, and then health and safety measures, which can include kind of all of those that I've listed here or none of them. Each scope is really customized, kind of what Laurie was talking about before, what your home needs, also what your ability is in terms of how kind of big or broad of a project there is both the ability to go and the kind of desire to go at any given time. But the great news about working with an EEN contractor to scope that out is that there's that process of designing kind of what fits within the scope of work that's possible and feasible now. And then if interested, working with one of the home energy loan lenders to see about possible financing for that project. So let's, I want to talk quickly about the current incentive offer that's available right now. So customers whose household annual household income is below 120% AMI or area median income are currently eligible to receive up to 75% of their weatherization project costs back, or up to $5,000 for that. The process does include income verification through a third party, Opportunities Credit Union actually, so that's independent of their work in the home energy loan, to determine eligibility for this level of incentive on a weatherization project through the Home Performance with Energy Star program. If folks are above 120%, it's up to $2,000 back. All right, so I wanted to talk quickly about the process overall. So kind of how does a customer kind of begin this process of going through the weatherization project or program with Efficiency Vermont, and what does that look like? What are the steps involved? So the first step would be to go to Efficiency Vermont's website and locate the what we call Find a Pro tool. It's basically a web page on our website to identify local EEN, weatherization, or home performance contractors close to you. You enter in your zip code and then it filters closest to you, and you can kind of sort by how far away from your zip code those available contractors are. We recommend, based on how busy the market is and how busy contractors are, for you to reach out to at least 3 contractors, which you can email or get their email addresses directly from that tool on our website, to essentially state your interest and see about their availability, get a sense for who they are they a right fit? And then once you kind of narrow it down, scheduling a visit at your home for that contractor to come out and perform testing on your home, and to thereafter develop what the project scope is for the weatherization project and talk through that whole entire process. The asterisk on this step is because this is actually the ideal point after the scope is identified if you are interested in pursuing a home energy loan, to begin engaging with a home energy loan lender for that process. So kind of that's why I kind of wanted to indicate where in that process the home energy loan kind of intersects. After the next step is that the weatherization project is completed. Again, right now, step 1 through 5, give or take about 6 months, although it can vary. And then the last step is that after the project is completed, your contractor, the EEN contractor, is the one who submits to Efficiency Vermont the required documentation in order to process and then receive the incentive that, 75% up to $5,000 in return on your project. That incentive payment or check can be made right out to your contractor as a form of payment on the project, or it can be sent to you as the customer. So this is a quick look at what the Find a Pro tool looks like on our website. Here is the link. I don't know, Laurie, if you plan to distribute kind of the slides in a PDF form afterwards, but this link here is a live link, so that would filter right through to the Find a Pro tool. But this is kind of where you begin to filter and understand who are contractors in your area who participate in the EEN, who would be eligible to perform a home performance with Energy Star job, and then receive that incentive back to you as a customer. So I wanted to talk a bit about the home energy loan before passing it over to Laurie. So quick kind of high level details about the program. Through the home energy loan, customers can finance up to $20,000 of ineligible weatherization and efficiency projects. So I know that today we're really focused on weatherization, which is fantastic, but the home energy loan also does cover a host of other measures, including pellet systems, wood stoves, heat pumps, and there's appliances as well. And you can seek a home energy loan for projects with kind of multiple focuses, so weatherization and a heat pump or what have you, or just weatherization. Interest rates are available as low as 0%, depending on household income and the loan term. So is it 0 to 5 years, or is it more up to 15 years the home energy loan goes? Customers do apply directly with chosen lenders, such as VSECU. Customers can still additionally receive back available Efficiency Vermont rebates and incentives on projects that they are undertaking with the assistance of the home energy loan. One key thing is that VGS customers are not eligible to finance weatherization projects through the home energy loan. VGS has its own residential loan product for that, so that we recommend that VGS customers contact them directly if you're interested in financing a weatherization project. VGS customers can use the home energy loan for other projects that are, as we kind of call it, electrically focused. Participating lenders, as I mentioned before, are VSECU, Opportunities Credit Union, and NeighborWorks of Western Vermont. And I wanted to show quickly, this is what we call our project verification form, but this is what you would fill out and your contractor would really help you fill out. along that step, I think it was step 4, kind of a few slides back, 4 or 5, where I had that asterisk. This is what you would fill out and then submit to, let's say, VSECU as a first step kind of in the process for pursuing a home energy loan. On the left side here, I know this is a busy slide, but it's meant to show you both sides of a one-page form. It basically provides information to the lender about who you are, where you live, what project you're undertaking, and confirming that the contractor who has both scoped as well as has committed to performing the work is eligible as under the requirements stated. The overall process for receiving a home energy loan is intentionally meant to be really fast and quick and pretty, hopefully pretty painless. The process of kind of applying, of running credit, of qualifying people for loans, that process rests with the lenders themselves and not with Efficiency Vermont. So if you do have questions about that process, I'm going to kick that one over to Laurie Fielder in just a little bit. But I wanted to provide some information here on what this part of the process looks like. As a whole, what I hope kind of to be able to have conveyed today is that Efficiency Vermont has a few different options for how you might be able to pursue a weatherization project. Laurie at the beginning nailed it on the head in terms of the benefits of weatherizing your home, not just in terms of are you more comfortable, are your energy costs lower, but we are also whether we, as hard as it is, even in the state of Vermont, we're seeing more days every year in excess of 90 degrees. And so we, as a whole, are using our air conditioners, certainly more and more if we have them. A leaky home or a home that is not well insulated or air sealed, it's also money is literally leaving the door and the windows, even when your AC is on, if a weatherized home is not at play too. We also talk a lot about Efficiency Vermont that heat pumps, cold climate heat pumps are a fantastic technology around electrification, but a home most benefits from electrification when it's also been weatherized. So there's kind of all of these connections that really make weatherization a fantastic and really critical first step in the process. And the great news is that there are a lot of programs available in the state, the Weatherization Assistance Program being one at no cost to eligible customers, and then the Home Performance with Energy Star program through Efficiency Vermont, where financing is available through the home energy loan. So I'm going to go ahead and stop talking. I'll go ahead and pass off to you, Laurie Fielder, and of course at the end, welcome any and all questions.
Actually, before we pop over to Laurie Fielder, I'm going to interrupt you and ask you, Lauren, can you back up a couple slides to those steps? I thought that was fantastic.
Okay.
Right there. Okay. So, this is really helpful to think about as far as project managing your weatherization. If you're going to do weatherization and work with an EEN contractor, Lauren has really broken this out really beautifully. And I might add on to that as a financial and energy coach. I would suggest something similar in preparing for financing. And I do have a slide in my deck, but we don't have to look at that right now. But, when you're creating that action plan with your EEN, in parallel, you could also be creating an action plan for your financing and preparation of talking to VSECU or Opportunities Credit or whomever you're going to use for your financing. So part of your action plan for financing might include things like pulling your credit report to check and make sure that it's accurate. And you can do that, GreenSavingSmart coach can help you with that. You can also get that from annualcreditreport.com. You should be able to pull a credit report at least once a year, if not more. I think we have a 6-month thing. Maybe Laura, you could speak to that, but pulling your credit report, making sure it's accurate. If you have any debt that you've got outstanding, you have a little bit, debt to income ratio problem, you want to appeal to the bank by making sure that you're paying down that debt. And then, you could use either a snowball approach or an avalanche approach. Snowballs, you make little payments, and avalanches, you go after those bigger debts and start paying those down first. but I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to defer to Laurie Fielder at VSECU. Thank you so much for being here. Lauren, that was awesome. I always enjoy hearing you speak about Efficiency Vermont's programs. So
My pleasure.
Laurie Fielder, VSECU, welcome and take us away.
Hi, everybody. Thanks. And thanks to Lauren and to Laurie. Those were great kind of prefaces for where we go from here. Yeah, as Lauren mentioned, we've worked together quite some time on making the home energy loan financing process as seamless as possible. And it is important to consider that financing is one way to pay for weatherization. I mean, it's important to think of weatherization as if you're going to prioritize it, you know, the very best bang for your buck is if you can pay cash, right? So you're doing no financing. But, you know, you might be in a position where you would be eligible to, you know, income eligible for the weatherization program services. And that's also great. You might even have your own, you know, self-funding mechanisms, but you just need to kind of know where to start. So I thought that process that Lauren showed was really great, just to sort of, you know, talk about how that would be, you know, a process you could really utilize for any of your weatherization goals. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now, and you know, at the end we can talk about some of our some questions that people come up with. Happy to do that. This is just, you know, VSECU is a credit union. We're based in Vermont. We have locations around the state in service, you know, in branch services. Myself and Lisa Lasanti are the program administrators. I'm the director. She's the senior program associate. This is a solar project based in Guilford, Vermont, that we have a net metering agreement on. So we have much of our electrical power is actually sourced from this solar array for our branch operations, our building operations. This is also 100% renewable energy. We're pretty proud of that. So this is focus of our organization is to, you know, not just provide services to our members in the form of deposit products and loan products, but also to really demonstrate what it looks like to make investments in clean energy and energy efficiency. So, you know, just getting started on what some of the loans are that we offer. And, you know, before I mention those, our mission statement is that it, you know, really wraps environmental stewardship into what our core is, our DNA, really, that we promote environmentally sound choices and practices for our own employees, our member owners, and in our business operations. Some of the loans that we offer is the home energy loan, as Lauren mentioned, through our partnership with Efficiency Vermont. This is a program that really started as a pilot program back in 2014 through the State Department of Public Service. And then as that program sort of, you know, we developed it and sort of learned from how we were, you know, doing, you know, how the loans worked and what the eligibility looked like, and really that balance between making sure that the financing was easy and accessible for the borrower, but also met the regulations and sort of the guidelines of the program. So that's a bit of a balancing act. As that program grew and matured, it became more than just a pilot, and we all decided it would be a great program to have as a permanent offering. And that's when Efficiency Vermont stepped in and really helped us to make that more of a, you know, it's really part of our full spectrum of services in the state. We also have other loan options that are great for solar, or they're great for, I love that comment about the $50,000 amount. We do see those, believe it or not. We see those loans. Those are typically loans that need a longer term to pay them off, and you know, so that it's affordable month to month. So that might be the 20-year energy improvement loan. It might be an energy equity loan, which is a home equity loan where you could borrow a larger amount of money if that was part of what you wanted to do to meet your own clean energy and efficiency goals. And we have a green vehicle loan, which is great. It offers a 0.5 percentage point off of our regular auto rates for vehicles that are, high mile per gallon vehicles, over 35 miles per gallon, or they're hybrids. And then we offer an additional 50 per 0.5 percentage off. So that was a 1 whole percentage point off for electric vehicles and plug-in electric vehicles. So that's been a very popular loan lately with all the other incentives and, the publicity and promotion around green vehicles. We have business options as well. Really, the one that is our bread and butter loan, it's our energy improvement loan. You can borrow up to $40,000 with this loan. It's totally unsecured. It's not a home equity loan. There's no collateral involved. You can use this loan for windows and doors. You could use it for appliances, DIY weatherization if you didn't qualify, income qualify for the home energy loan. This is a great option. Roof repairs, bicycles, pellet stoves, battery storage, things that some of these things are eligible for the home energy loan, but there's some people that are not income eligible for the home energy loan. So therefore, this is a great product for them. That it is a discounted interest rate off of our regular personal loan rate. So I have a chart closer to the end, and we can I'll talk about sort of the difference in what that looks like for rates and what that kind of converts to for monthly payments and overall financing charges. So then this is the home energy loan, and Lauren did a great job showing that the project verification form, that's Efficiency Vermont's form to help the lender really to qualify eligible projects for the program. So I just did a snippet here that talks about the household income qualifications, anything under 90,000 household income, and we really look at all income. This is gross income. This isn't taxable income. This is what HUD would look at if they were looking at eligibility. So it's all forms of income: disability, Social Security, regular, employment income, self-employment income for people who are living in the household. So we're not talking about teenagers. We're talking about the people living in the household that are responsible for paying the household expenses. So these days we see a lot of different situations. There's families that are more extended, like, a son and a spouse and maybe a mother-in-law, or adult children living with their parents. We're seeing all sorts of different housing situations, unfortunately, because the housing crunch and the low inventory out there for people. So they're getting creative, and that means that the combined income needs to be looked at for this program. And the maximum loan amount is $20,000 for the program. So what we've seen for those people that do go over the $20,000, we look at how much is eligible for this program. We'll put it in a home energy loan, and then anything over the $20,000 would go into a regular energy improvement loan, like you saw on the slide before. We can do 100% project financing. They don't have to put down a deposit for the loan. There's no application fees. There's no early, prepayment fees or anything like that. That being said, there might be contractors that require a deposit, but that's not related to the financing. So, as Lauren mentioned, this is really a program around having, experienced and qualified contractors making a work scope, like really looking at the whole picture when they're doing this work. So this loan really does, you have to have a qualified and eligible installer contractor who's signing off on that project verification form. there isn't any DIY in this program. If you want to do some DIY improvements, we can do a loan for that. That would be in the energy improvement loan. So no, subsidized interest rate beyond the discounted rate of the V-Green program. And lots of people do that. They feel as though they have enough information and guidance from maybe somebody who does have experience with weatherization, or they feel as though they want to replace some windows that might not qualify for the program. So they're fine with doing that and purchasing the windows on their own, and then sometimes we'll do the loan, review the loan, and if approved, then we can send checks right to their credit card company to pay off that amount, or we can make the check payable to the local distributor. In the V-Green program, most of the loans, we do make checks payable to the contractor, the distributor, the retailer, and we do require invoices, we require receipts. That's just part of the, we're pretty highly regulated. So if we're offering a discounted loan rate, we need to be able to prove that it was used for this purpose. And as Lauren mentioned, we work pretty closely with Efficiency Vermont on all of these eligible measures, because one of our beliefs is that we need to really be able to focus on financing. So we're experts in financing. The contractors in Efficiency Vermont, they're experts in the actual work being done in the work scope. So we do rely on them if it looks like it's a purpose that might be a little different, or we haven't heard of that before. There's times we will reach out. We don't want to make the process prolonged or build in any extra time if we don't need to, but sometimes we do reach out for assistance to them. So one of the things that is not covered is gut rehabs. So if somebody's going in and they're tearing out everything in the inside of the house, and they want a home energy loan to, a $20,000 home energy loan to put insulation back in, that's not going to be eligible for the program. So it really does need to be sort of a specific project that would qualify, and here's the list of the various measures. So this is the slide that's new. So I really would like to try it out with this group, and I think what it does is really demonstrate the value of a shorter term and a lower interest rate. Okay, so what people sometimes don't understand is that $8,500, which is, as Laurie mentioned in the beginning, is the sort of the average price or the average cost of weatherizing a typical Vermont home. So, I chose $10,000 for this demonstration because it's nice and easy and round. But $8,500, and we do see many $10,000 home energy loans, but $8,500 is like the return on investment, over however many, I think it was 10 years, is $11,000 in savings. But a lot of times it was more than that $8,500 as the initial investment if you choose to finance the project. So that's why I'm saying your return is always better if you don't have to finance, unless you get the 0% rate, which is you have to be income eligible for, and you have to be able to afford payments on this amount that could be a lot if it's only in a 60-month term for repayment. Okay, so what we'll do is this is a lot of information on here. We'll go through one by one. So on the left, that column is all personal loans at VSECU. A regular personal loan for and it's only up to 10,000. So you can't go up to 20 like you could with a home energy loan. So $10,000 max for 60-month max. So you can't go over 5 years for a personal loan. Is 9.9%. That's for best credit. So that's credit scores of 730 and above. That would show you there that there's going to be, a finance charge of $2,700 over the course of the 60 months. So it's going to cost you $12,000 for all total is $12,000, almost 13 that you're paying back. So the V Green Energy Improvement Loan, the one that's sort of the regular, you can borrow up to 40,000. That interest rate is 5.15% currently, as low as best credit. And that will show you that, that'll cost you about $1,300 in finance charges over the course of that 5 years. If you choose and are eligible for a home energy loan, that's going to cost you nothing more than the $10,000 in principal that you borrowed. And your payments are $167 basically a month. So if you did this in a personal loan, it would be $212 a month. And a V Green Energy Improvement would be $189. And an Efficiency Vermont home energy loan would be $167. So that really pretty clearly demonstrates, that 5-year term is absolutely fantastic if you're eligible. So a lot of people, they need more time than that to pay that back. They have car payments, they have mortgages, they have credit card bills, life gets in the way. They might have a personal loan for vet expenses, who knows? So if you want to do a $10,000, project and you need 10 years to pay it back, you might find, oh, I can't even do a personal loan, but if I did an energy improvement loan, $109 a month, that's not too bad. The interest rate is 5.65% if you have best credit. But, over the course of that 10 years, you're paying $3,000, over $3,000 in finance charges. And then with the Efficiency Vermont program, the home energy loan, if you income qualify and the project is qualified, your monthly payment goes down to $92 a month. Your interest rate is 1.99%. And your finance charge is only $1,000 for the whole 10 years. That's what you're going to pay in additional interest to borrow that money. So that's still pretty great. And then the last demonstration here is this 15-year term. And a lot of people borrow money for 15 years. I mean, it's not terribly unusual. And you would go up to an interest rate of 6.15%. Again, the personal loan is no longer an option. Your finance charge is going to be about $5,000 though over the course of 15 years. So it's not just the rate that impacts how much interest you pay to borrow that money over the course of that time. It's the time. So it's really that term that's really important to consider. If you can pay that $10,000 back in 5 years, so if you can manage that $189 payment, then you're going to save yourself $4,000 in interest on that energy improvement loan. And that's significant. And then finally, of course, the the Efficiency Vermont home energy loan is, I think I have something. Oh no, I don't have something wrong there. Look at that. So $69 a month, which, so just backing up a little, I'm not sure that we'd be too wild about you borrowing $10,000 for 15 years, because that doesn't really make sense. It's much more meaningful if you can make those payments at the $109 versus the $85, or the $92 payment versus the $69. But anyway, this one has a little higher interest rate, 2.99%. That's pretty good. So the finance charge is about $2,500 over the course of 15 years. And there's not many people that choose 15 years for the home energy loan. Most people try to do it in 5 or 10 years. And we really encourage that. And not, it means that we wouldn't get as much money, because we're the ones that are benefiting from interest, but we also don't want to service a loan that's $10,000 for that long. That just it feels out of line. Like most people borrow, $30,000 for a car over 7 years. So if you think about it that way, borrowing $10,000 for 15 years just doesn't make financial sense. So that's why I'm saying, if you can figure out a way to afford the payment, that the shorter term is almost always going to be more beneficial, and you will get that return on your investment much quicker. which makes the project much better for everybody, for you. You enjoy your savings, and you'll have your payment, the difference between $69 and $92. Most people can find that somewhere in their budget to make that happen. So that's that slide. And in order to apply for any of these loans, we have a really great new website that we just launched this year. It's very exciting. It has kind of a guided tour element to it. So you would go online and looks in that picture there on the right. You pick the thing that you are looking to do. Like, what's the project? You pick the thing you are looking at doing. And then based on the selection, we recommend the loan types that we talked about in the beginning that make sense for what the project is. So for the most part, we really encourage you to work with that contractor or vendor to determine what, excuse me, your project is going to be to purchase, how much you need, what loan meets your needs, complete the project, file your incentives and rebates and tax credits, and enjoy your savings.
That's so great. Thanks, Laurie. That was really really informational, and it got me thinking a lot. If you're borrowing money, even at 2.99%, although I get that 15 years, the cost of borrowing money, that's what you can think of that finance charge as the cost of borrowing money. That's what you're paying. It's what you have to pay to the bank in their fees and interest. And I was kind of interested, you made mention that when you're working with weatherization with an EEN contractor, that VSECU doesn't reimburse the homeowner, but the checks go to that contractor or to the distributor. And I think that's a really important distinction to make. So you have to sort of line up those projects in advance and make sure you have your financing lined up in advance. So if somebody, say they were financing windows and doors on their building, they wouldn't want to install them on the building first, pay the contractor, because they're not going to get the check from VSECU. It's going to go to the distributor and the contractor.
Exactly. And what we really want people to know is that, when we go through that loan process and they're applying for that home energy loan through that program and they want that rate, right? So that's all good. But we need the things that we require before the loan closes is we require that work scope / proposal from the contractor. And sometimes that involves several contractors. They might be doing weatherization, they might be remediating vermiculite, they might have an electrician they're paying separately. There could be a heat pump installer. That's fine, but what we do is we have a contractor who's responsible for the project. And then with heat pump, if there's also a heat pump installation, we do ask for them to also fill out that form, because that's sort of its own thing. That's not really related to a rebate they get afterwards. That rebate's kind of built in, they get it up front.
Yeah, like a point of purchase.
It's a point of sale type of thing. So we're looking for that signed project verification form. We're looking for the quote / proposals from the contractors, and we're looking for income verification. So we're not going to just take people's word for it. We actually are going to look for income verification on all sources of income for the household, which we try to make it super easy. And we have a really cool little portal. So once they apply for the loan and the underwriter reaches out to them, we send them a link to the portal and they can upload those documents into the portal. So it's super secure. And then that way they have all of those little documents come to us. We review them, we make a loan decision, and then they can move forward. And once they're ready for installation, we'll close the loan and disperse the funds and get the checks out to the contractors. And we'll do the checks in a couple of different, I'll say the contractor, it's a weatherization contractor, and they're like, well, I'm going to need 2 payments. I'm going to need 50% at the beginning and 50% at the end. As long as the installation is scheduled within a reasonable time period, we'll just send both checks. We often send the 2 checks made payable to the contractor, but we send them to the borrower so that they can disperse them according to their contract.
Yeah.
So that works pretty smoothly. We hear for the most part that the process goes well, and the contractors are pleased because they know we're working with them to get the funding for the project.
Right. I have a kind of a little bit of a curiosity. When you're working with homeowners, do they have to be a member of VSECU, or can they not be a member and still qualify for these programs?
Sure. They don't have to be a member to apply for the loan. So what they would do first is go ahead and apply, and then we work through the process of the loan decision. And once it's approved or pre-approved, and they do choose to proceed, then they would join VSECU as a member prior to the loan closing.
Nice.
But they don't have to be a member prior to applying.
That's great. That's great. Well, most folks that I've talked to about VSECU's programs, the clients that I'm working with, seem really excited about VSECU, and becoming a member is certainly something that they're interested in doing. So
yeah, and I think Opportunities Credit Union is the same process. I believe they're also a credit union. So the way credit unions work is that if you're a member, you have a share of the credit union. Your deposit account is sort of your demonstration of your membership. For VSECU, that's a $25 deposit it's called a share account because it's your share of the credit union. And then of course you'll have your loan account, and you can open we have a V-Green money market account. We have other products too people can take advantage of. And then of course, NeighborWorks of Western Vermont is also a lender. And they're a different kind of lender. You don't become a member necessarily for them, but they also have a process. So the 3 lenders have been in the program a long time, so we're all pretty experienced at managing the requests and processing the funding, and also that seamless sort of back and forth that we have with Efficiency Vermont to make sure projects are eligible, they qualify, and people are getting what they need for assistance.
Yeah, that's what I've heard, is that it's pretty seamless, that the relationships are already established. So it's not like having your bank talk to your contractor and it gets all messy. It's actually a pretty smooth process, and that's really helpful. I do want to point out one other funding option for some of our older Vermonters who might be income eligible. One other financing opportunity is the USDA does have a rural home repair loan and grant. And I think if you're 62 and up, that's actually a grant. There's no interest on it, and you were granted up to $10,000. So that's just one more, little financial thing to tuck in your pocket. And then the other financial piece that I think we should tip our hats to is home improvements are sometimes deductible from your taxes, or credit on your taxes. You do need to check with your tax accountant, because a lot of things are shifting right now at the federal level. And I think that's certainly worth something talking, if you're planning a weatherization project, definitely reach out to your accountant. If you don't have an accountant, the VITA program at the community action agencies, the volunteer tax preparers, they can help answer that question or answer your particular situation. So those are all things to think about. And Laurie, thank you so much for this presentation. This was really, really helpful. I loved your graph that you tried out on us with the different loan amounts. That I want to copy of that.
Well, thank you for letting me try that out on you. I think it was something I've been thinking about a long time, to really let people see in real life what the difference is in terms and rates. Yeah.
Well, when people say, look at the terms and conditions of a loan, to have something like that where you can really compare it right across, that's so really helpful. It makes it, I'm a very visual person, so I like that sort of graph. It really, it brings it home to me.
Oh,
So
great.
I want to be aware of everybody's time, and I think that we're probably pretty ready to take anybody's questions. And I see we've got one in the chat from one of our participants here today, and it's asking. I think it's basically asking Laurie if somebody can make early payments on the loans, or are there penalties for making early payments?
Yep, no penalties for making early payments. You can set up your payment schedule however you want for your loan right online, or you can stop in a branch and they can help you do it, or call in. But they, you can do whatever you want to try to pay it down early if that's a goal. You also, say you get, those incentives that Lauren was talking about, they're significant. We always encourage people, if you got, what is it, up to $5,000, and you would like to pay down your loan and shorten the term, it really shortens the term if you if you can bring that in, and put it on your loan, we can even re-amortize the loan so that you get a lower payment for the remaining term. So or you just apply it and finish paying it off sooner. So it's totally, people should take advantage of whatever they can to pay it down sooner.
That's great. That's great. Okay, so I just want to check in with our participants. Any other questions we have? If anybody else wants to speak up, please, please pop a question in the chat to us. We'd be happy to answer it. Or Lauren, if you have anything that you'd like to observe, back to Laurie, let us know.
Sure, Laurie, as always, you did a great job laying out what the process is, and I think a joint message we have is around options and choosing the option that best suits your needs based off of your financial capabilities or kind of intentions or desires, and also the goals you have for kind of making your home more comfortable and efficient and cost effective from kind of a weatherization and energy efficiency perspective. So hopefully we were able to kind of cover the spectrum of questions, but as always, I think, Laurie, you'd say this too, reach out to EVT customer support or VSECU directly with any questions about what we've discussed. We are here to kind of walk folks through the process and help direct you elsewhere if our individual programs may not be the best suited for you, or in any way that we can from there.
Excellent. Well, guys, I want to be aware of everybody's time, and we're just about at 4:15, so I think we'll wrap up. I don't see any other questions popping in the chat here, but again, Laurie Fielder, Lauren Wentz, thank you so much. It was fun to be the lures on this webinar with you. So, and Kelsey, I want to thank you for taking care of the back of the house for us. And I hope everybody has a great afternoon. And if you want to see this, check out the GreenSavingSmart YouTube channel, or go to our website, GreenSavingSmart.org, and you could see the webinar. Okay, thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.